Good day, fuckazoids. Another week, another goddamn bullshit video. So last week we had our big Godzilla premiere. We all got together and watched the new Godzilla movie, and all this week you're going to hear all of our takes on the Godzilla movie. Yes, my video's a day late. Fuck off. You try doing this bullshit in the space of a couple days. But anyway, so I got a chance to see all of the other Angry Men commentators like E. Adam Thomas.
Fuck off!
So that went about as well as you could expect. So, Godzilla 2014. Good movie. See it in a theater. Fucking giant goddamn lizard. Giant fucking screen. No other way to see it. 2D, 3D doesn't really matter. But I saw it in 3D halfway through. Fucking didn't even notice it anymore. Giant lizard. Again, got all my goddamn attention. As far as the plot goes, I'm going to give you a recap. Not my normal rapid recap because I've only seen it once. So I don't have it memorized like I do all the other fucking movies I put on here. So I'm going to have to do this a little bit more at pace. Try to keep up. I'm sure you can. All right, so we start off, we have Malcolm's dad, and he works at a nuclear reactor that gets destroyed by a monster, and when it gets destroyed, it kills his wife. So he goes on a 15 fucking year vendetta trying to figure out what destroyed the nuclear reactor. During that 15 years, his son has grown up, joined the Navy, became a munitions disposal expert or explosive ordnance disposal tech in the Navy, married the non-Olsen twin sister, or the non-twin Olsen sister, the one that's not as famous and willing to show her boobs on the movies. Anyway, so he grew up, he's in the Navy, he's an explosive disposal bomb squad guy. Thinks his dad's fucking crazy. Dad goes back to Japan, tries to sneak back into the reactor, gets caught. They get taken to fucking the guy from Last Samurai, not Ra's al Ghul, who tells them, yes, it is a monster, and it's in a chrysalis, and it's absorbing the radiation, and it's about to hatch, and we're about to kill it, and this is a fucking Godzilla movie, so you know how well that fucking works. Monster comes out, and the best way for me to describe it is it's kind of a predator with a cockroach with fucking wings. Anyway, that's the best way to describe it. They call it a muto, which sounds like a Mexican pop boy band, but we'll let that be. So the muto hatches, which brings out Godzilla, which is some kind of apex predator, and they all start moving towards San Francisco. Why are they moving towards San Francisco? Because fucking there was another muto in a base in Nevada. It hatched, and they're all converging into San Francisco, where they're all going to fucking fight, destroy everything, and Godzilla's going to come out king of the monsters again. So there's the overview of the movie. I'm sure you guys have seen the internet and you've read some of the comments people are saying, and probably the biggest gripe people have about the movie is there's not enough Godzilla in it. Let me explain something to you. Number one, fuckers have not seen a real Godzilla movie if you're saying there's not enough Godzilla in it. You watch like Monster Zero or, Godzilla vs. Mothra, fucking Godzilla doesn't even show up until like an hour into the goddamn movie. This one, he's in the movie all the way through, even if he's not necessarily fighting. Also, ladies, do not fuck the guys that say there's not enough Godzilla in this movie. To them, this is a euphemism. Godzilla is their dick. The movie is your ass, and their disappointment is what you get when you get 2 minutes of their 2-inch fury and you're done. Let me explain something to these guys that say that there's not enough Godzilla in the movie. There's a thing called pacing. There's a thing called foreplay. You know when a girl teases you, and slowly breathes on the shaft before she actually touches you, and kind of cups the balls and might brush against your asshole hair a little bit, and you get a little scared because you remember that time that you accidentally put it in the wrong hole, and you think she might go, ha-ha, fucker, but she doesn't. And that anticipation and that little bit of nervousness adds a little spice to it, and she slowly gets closer to you, and she slowly slips down on top of you, and bam, you look like this.
Oh, shit!
Well, that's what they did with this Godzilla movie. They built up the tension so well. I'm sitting there in the movie theater watching, and I'm like, oh, here comes the fight, here comes the fight. And then they like close the doors over the camera so you can't see, and you're like, ah! And then finally by the end, you're just so ready for this goddamn fight scene. And something that you realize when you watch a lot of Godzilla movies, they get silly in their fight scenes when you have more Godzilla in them, because there's really only so many cool moves you can pack into a movie when you have certain monsters fighting, because they each have their own way they move, their own way they fight. So what they did in this movie is they took all the cool moves and fucking munched them into that last 10 minutes. So you're sitting there and you're anticipating. You're like, ah, bam, there it is. And you're just, ah, everyone in the theater started cheering when the fight scenes happen, and the last use of the breath weapon, everyone's, ah, fuck yeah. And that's the way it's supposed to fucking be. Godzilla is a build-up. It's not a fucking action movie. All you fuckers who say there's not enough Godzilla, go watch Pacific Rim. Oh, you didn't, because the fucking movie didn't make any money. Maybe you should have watched that, because that's more of what you wanted than this Godzilla movie. You wanted to jerk off all the way through like fucking action porn, and there's no problem with that, but that's not fucking Godzilla. Not to say that this movie doesn't have its problems. Gareth Edwards, great director. Watch Monsters if you haven't seen it, and you'll see why he got picked to do the new Godzilla movie. But he has a thing about giant holes, and, you know, I'm not talking about your fascination with giant fucking gaping holes. No, he likes fucking gaping holes in mountains. If you have a compensation problem. There's 2 times in the movie where guys will turn around and there's this huge reveal of a gaping hole where a monster has busted through a mountain and left a big gaping hole. I'll give them the first one because they weren't expecting a giant monster, but the second one, you know, you figure they'd have some spy satellites or some shit that might notice a monster busting out of a goddamn fucking hole. And then there's also the fact that one of the monsters in it use EMPs and take out all the circuitry around them. And they keep sending in F-18s. Now, if you don't know anything about jets, there's 2 different ways. You got F-18s that do what's called fly-by-wire. Everything's electronic. When you move the joystick, it's just like a fucking video game. It sends a signal to a computer and fucking, you know, moves the flaps and you fly around. Ah! But anyway, that's what it's like, what an F-18 is like. Now, older planes like an F-4, which are still being used as trainers in the Air Force and whatnot, they don't use that. They use analog. They use fucking normal motors and fucking cables and shit when you move the controls. Why the fuck do they keep sending in these F-18s just to fucking fall out of the sky and land on people and squish them like goddamn rabbit poop? That I didn't get either. But really, there's an amount of suspension of disbelief that you have to have when you see a Godzilla movie. So, great movie. It's already busting records at the box office. I highly recommend you seeing it. They're going to make another one, and, you know, with Gareth Edwards' fascination with giant fucking holes, maybe your mom will be in the next one. So, like usual, fuck off and have a nice day.
Especially disappointing when you consider the fact that the stage version was
nothing I can do to dress this movie up. I'm really trying. It's odd.